Welcome to Storytime with Stephanie. Today we have Merlin accompanying us again. Today he's on my lap. Off to our right here we have Pearl. And then there we have Harley. Anyway, today I want to talk about a development, an unexpected development that happened going from 8th to 9th grade. So during, my 7th and 8th grade, I experimented a little here and there. Smoked a few cigarettes, drank, beer, got drunk a couple times. And got away with it. Now, a couple of these escapades were with my best friend, who felt guilty about hiding things from her mom at some point, and basically sat her down and gave her the spiel about things that she had done, and my name was included in some of this. And in the meantime, her mom and my dad were good friends. And she called my dad and they had a conversation. You know that game? Did you ever play that game as kids where you're all sitting in a circle and the first person thinks of something to say and they whisper to the person next to them. And each person whispers what they think that they heard, and it goes all the way around until it turns into something else, right? Well, this was a very short version of that. From my friend to her mom to my dad. And by the time it got to me, I was chain smoking. I was an alcoholic, and I was a drug addict. I'm like, I was still a virgin, and I hadn't even smoked weed yet, So now my stepmother and her sister had been preparing for homeschool for their kids. I'd even gone with my stepmother to schools to pick up desks and books and what have you that they were discarding. We had our own little schoolroom set up. It was actually quite cool. But I was not interested. I was 13 going on 14, 8th grade going into 9th grade, and I was anticipating drill team and, games and, prom and, all these things. And my dad took this opportunity to give me one of two choices upon this revelation. The first choice was to be grounded for a year, all through my 9th grade year. And this was junior high, 7th, 8th, 9th. That's the year that you're the big kids, right? I wouldn't be allowed to participate in anything. I wouldn't be allowed to go to any games. I wouldn't be allowed to go to any of the dances. I wouldn't be allowed to try out for or participate in drill team. Just go to school and come home. And my father was a man of his word. If he said this, he meant it. And even if in the end he felt like it was an asshole thing to do, he would still do it because he said he was going to. He didn't go back on anything he said, ever. He said what he meant, and he meant what he said. So, my other choice was to go ahead and agree to homeschool. And because my dad taught at my junior high, he assumed that I would be allowed to participate in the different activities. drill team, games, proms. No. Though I chose option B because it sounded way better than option A, because what I wanted was to participate in those activities more than anything. I hated being at home. Hated. I couldn't wait to get away from home. Any reason, any excuse to not be there. It literally was. My dad, in later years, likened it to a war zone because you literally never knew when the next bomb was going to drop. It was never a friendly environment. There was no laughter. It was just a fighting environment. Just always tension, walking on eggshells. So anyway, I opted for option B. And not only was I not allowed to participate at any of those activities via the school's decision, but I only sat down with the school book. I remember, I don't think it was any more than a week. I learned some biology. That's when I learned about electrons and protons. And that was it. The rest of the year, I was just put to work. Different projects that she had me do. Because that's all she thought I was good for. But her kids went through entire educational regimens that she put together, complete with plans and everything. Going back to her, obviously, treating her children much better. I mean, you expect a certain amount of that because it's natural to be, have a certain affinity towards your own birth-given children, but at the same time, you can love other children. And my stepmother was not able to bridge that gap, but denied it. That was what made it even worse, is that she made it obvious, but then denied it like you were crazy. So just another mind fuck, making you think that you don't really see what you're seeing, even though it's right there in your face. But anyway, that kind of set the tone for a whole new level of what the fuck, which I'll cover in the next chapter. That's enough for now.